Hello, YouTube fans, here again. And I figured why not talk about this. I remember talking about it before. Classic film, don't make films like this anymore. That being Enter the Dragon. Enter the Dragon, which you notice on the DVD, is actually the uncut version of Enter the Dragon, the uncut one. Now, I do know over the years there have been a lot of different inedited versions of Enter the Dragon. Some with music in, some with music out, certain dialogue wasn't in, and so on. But the one scene that was missed out, even though originally on video, when video was big in its day, when it first came out video, this scene here with the nunchuckers, which basically in a lot of the Bruce Lee films, and maybe a lot of other films that had martial arts in, was always cut. Was always cut. But happy to say, people nowadays are becoming a bit more intelligent, especially in the movie business, because let's be honest, they cut this out because kids were stupid enough, which they thought, but to use the weapon and go around whacking people. But in all fairness, if you're going to cut weapons out, would it be laughable they did that with Psycho, the famous Sour scene? But this, on the other hand, I actually like this film. There's a lot of day actors who are sadly no longer with us, like that Danson over there, and a lot of other good actors like we see over here who are sadly no longer with us. May they rest in peace, as well as the man himself, Bruce Lee, the legend. And it's sort of sad in one way because this was the big grossing film, the biggest martial art film for that era, especially done by a company like Water Buffers. This is the Water Buffers, you can see here. This is the Water Buffers I miss. I miss this Water Buffers. This is the Water Buffers what used to have make damn good films, whether it be the Dirty Harry films, whether it be this film, whether it be Lethal Weapon, the list goes on. This, on the other hand, I love this film. You know what I mean? And I was about to say, this is a dosing film for Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee. It's sad to say, never had the luck to see this on the theatrical because, as we all know, Bruce Lee, not long after doing this, as we all know, sadly lost his life. But I'll leave that for another day to talk about that. I'm more going to talk about the film and so on about the film and the history about the film. Why not? Why not? So, as we all know, when Enter the Dragon was going to come out, believe it or not, Bruce Lee was not going to star in the film. Wasn't going to star in it. That this other actor, I don't know who he was, but he seemed a bit cocky. He was very arrogant. He was demanding a big dollop of money to appear in this film. So decided to hell with you. And at the time, they heard of Bruce Lee. I mean, at the time, he was done by Golden Harvest. And he was making it big, do you know what I mean? Whether it be the Big Boss, whether it be the Fist of Fury, whether it be Way of the Dragon. And I do know at the time he was working on Game of Death, which we all know never competed Game of Death. He sadly lost his life. But he was working on that at the time. So Water Brothers decided to seize one of his films, said, give this guy a go, give him a go. And the rest is history. He got the role, and the rest is history. So you got the date opening anyway. You got this opening. I always remember the original Water Brothers logo. It's sad to say it's never on this. I've just risked. I've never seen it once on the video. The original Water Brothers logo. Don't know what I mean. Had the red lines coming across, then it turns right, and then you have that big circle. It definitely brings memories to you if you remember the old way Water Brothers used to open up. It's kind of the same as the start that, because I remember seeing it once. But saying that, this is the uncut one. There's usually a lot more meat to the feds in this one, which you never saw in the golden days of Fid. So like I was about to say, you've got a date scene where Bruce Lee's doing martial arts and he's training this lad. And this, you've got an idea, it's sort of like a secret agent. So it's sort of like what would happen if Bruce Lee was James Bond. Which is funny enough, he's mentioned in one of the TV spots of this. And he gets sent on a mission. But it's more like a personal vendetta because you find out there's this guy, right, who killed his sister. Forced his sister to do Akitaka. No one knows what Akitaka is. It's suicide. And he tries to go on revenge. There's a date scene where he fights this guy. He's got a star on his face. Jumps in the air. And you've got the idea he jumps on him, even though you don't see it. And let's not forget the villain. I remember once talking about Demnins, and there's an old guy in Demnins, you know, goes, "Ayah, you thought Mogwai to watch TV? Ayah." Well, the one who did that did the voice to the villain, because the villain couldn't speak a word of English, the actor, I should say. So he actually dubbed the voice of the villain, who was sadly no longer with us. And another well-known star of the film, the villain, who had the mecha hand. I sort of like Enter the Dragon. I think it's it's a dud. It's a dud. It's definitely a classic, and there's a lot of people say they don't make films like this anymore. They do not make films like Enter the Dragon anymore, and it's a bloody shame. In my eyes, it's a bloody shame, and it pees me off. But you do get some great fight scenes, very good dialogue, and you also get Paul O'Lung. No one knows who Paul O'Lung is, been in a lot of the martial art films, well known for being in Bloodsport with Don Ford Van Dam, which is funny enough, is very similar to this. And he was in another film with Van Dam, being Double Impact, as a villain. Basically not like a villain in this at all. I also remember the scene where which originally was cut from video, I may add. I have to say this is his uncut one, where he's getting these guys, he's beating them to death, he gets one, he literally cusses his poor guy to death, like graphic, and so on. So, like I say, Bruce Lee's, he's more like a spy film at this point. He's looking around, he's trying to get evidence that this guy who's the main villain isn't just having a tournament of martial artists, he's actually pushing opium. That's right, he's a drug dealer. And basically, what happens is he gets caught. But I also remember the fight scene where he's whacking them, and in the uncut one, you get to have the looks of seeing him use the nunchuckers. And there's a good scene in it where he gets one guy, gets him by the hair. I'm not sure whether someone say he rips his head off. I just figured he just snapped his neck. If you think you've seen this guy before, it's the man himself, Jackie Chan. That's right, Jackie Chan. He's in a small role in Enter the Dragon as one of the Uds, one of the villains. No, it's an X, so let's just say. That's how he made his living. I remember saying that before. Jackie Chan made it big by doing stunt work. He was a stunt man. He also appeared in a small role in Fist of Fury. The scene where Bruce Lee kicks the villain out the window. That gets flung out the window was actually the man himself, Jackie Chan. So the date scene people never knew where Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee's got him by the hair and he snaps his neck, and I love it. And I also remember the date scene where he's in the room, it's got mirrors everywhere. And I remember seeing the making. There was a making back in the day, which I have to say, on the special features. You get original trailers, TV spot, which I mentioned, radio spots, and you do get a making back in the day. You even get an original interview, what Bruce Lee did, not long after doing Enter the Dragon. Shot him back and right, the interview, because it was before they had a lot of colour TV. But it's interesting to see Bruce Lee talking, and sadly to say, would have been his last interview. But it's a good one. I also remember the date scene where he's fighting the villain, he's in the room with all these mirrors, he kicks the villain, he gets stabbed, he pushes the mirror out and walks out. I always loved that scene. And I do remember in the uncut one, you do get a monologue where you do hear a voice going in to break the mirrors, there's an illusion or something like that. So I do dilute this one. I think it's a damn good one. There's a few extra scenes that was never ever been shown before. There's a scene where one of the guys, who's like a cheatser, talks to Bruce Lee, who's the character called Lee, to go to this tournament because of what's going on. And I do remember it was cut out, it was deleted, but they do actually use the footage in Dame of Death 2. Believe it or not, they used the footage in Dame of Death 2. But I have to say, on this DVD, you do get to see that. And I also like the footage where every character has fast bats. That Danson has fast bats, that he's on the run, he's owing money to these loan sharks. You've got the date guy here, who's a well-known martial artist, who's no longer with us. He's having fast bats with these racist coppers who he beats up, so he's on the run. The only bit that pees me off is to kill him off. I didn't think they really needed to kill him off, really. Did they really need to kill him off? You see him there stuck on these things and they dump him, I'm assuming it's like acid or something. I didn't really think they needed to kill him off. There was a few little bits I'm going to be thingy on. That dancing, I didn't think the scene where he fights Paul O'Lung, I didn't think it was that defensive. I thought it would have been better that they would have had Bruce Lee fight Paul O'Lung. Because I didn't buy that dancing would have killed Paul O'Lung. It's just my opinion. But other than that, though, there's no faults in the film. I love Enter the Dragon. It's a classic. They don't make films like this anymore. I think it's a damn good martial art film. It's a decent film. It's when this Water Buffers earns its flipping name, and that's one of the rubbish Water Buffers produces these days. That's Enter the Dragon. Into then, I'm going to rub my nose and imitate Bruce Lee. Into then, be smart, be safe, and I'll see you later.